Hi guys, so I found this footage, so this is kind of a lost and found video, but before I start my other gardening videos, I want to show you what happened in my garden at the end of my winter gardening season, which ended at about May. So I had tomatoes growing by the wall over there, I had tomatoes growing in the container over here, and I had tomatoes growing in the raised bed garden. And at the end of the season in May, I decided to just let them be, because they were still producing, but I knew eventually it's going to get too hot and the blossoms are not going to be turning into fruit. So these are all tomatoes that this year I decided to do an experiment, so I didn't hand pollinate them. I just let the bees and whatever other bugs are flying out there take care of it. So they were growing totally normal, but at the end of the season, I'm going to show you in this video, every single tomato plant that I had, the blossoms did make fruit, but the tomatoes that started growing had nothing to do with the actual tomato variety. They were really bizarre shapes. I kind of want your opinion on that, because last year I did mess up a couple of tomato plants, because usually I use different Q-tip for each tomato plant has its own Q-tip. And last year, 2 tomato plants, I messed it up, so they ended up growing 2 different shaped tomatoes, but that was totally my fault. This year I did not touch them, and they were kind of far apart. So let's say over here I have the cherry tomatoes and the girly girl tomatoes, and I had one heirloom tomato. Over here I had another variety tomato, and then on a raised bed garden I had another variety. So they're about, what is this, 20 feet apart, and then another 20 feet apart, if not even more, so about 50 feet apart. And I doubt that it was the wind. So let me know what your opinion is, but in this video I'm going to show you what the tomato was looking like when it was producing, and then at the end of the season. Mind you, the tomatoes do look smaller because in May I stopped fertilizing them. I was just letting them be. So with the exception of the cherry tomatoes, so the cherry tomatoes are about that big, and it started growing these big ugly tomatoes that are quite a bit bigger than the cherry tomato. So really strange footage. I was organizing some video clips on my computer and I found those, so I decided to share them with you guys. Let me know what your opinion is and my weird tomato shapes. Yeah, just watch it and let me know. So this is the tomato plant that was growing in a big container, and this is actually my best producer this season. I picked probably over 40 tomatoes, but as you can see, these tomatoes normally have the shape of, I would say, a light bulb. And then at the end of the season they started producing these strangely shaped tomatoes that I've never even seen a tomato this shape. And it has nothing to do with the actual tomato. And these two, so this is a second shape that it's growing on the same plant. So pretty strange. And these are my cherry tomatoes, and as you can see, they look like your regular cherry tomatoes, nothing wrong with them. I picked, I would say, hundreds and hundreds of cherry tomatoes. I will not grow them again because I didn't like the taste. But at the end of the season, this is what I got. I got big uglies growing on a cherry tomato plant. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. And this one grew, I would say, about 3 times the size of the actual cherry tomato. And that was my tastiest tomato. I love this one. That tasted the best of all. But this is what it looked like while it was growing. And then this is what it looked like when it was ripened. And you'll see why it's my favorite tasting tomatoes, because on the inside there were hardly any seeds. It was all meat, as I call it. But then at the end of the season, these guys turned all bizarre on me as well. So this is one shape of tomato on these tomato plants. Totally strange. I've never even seen tomato shape like this. And then this is another shape. That looks bizarre, doesn't it? So I don't know what happened, and I didn't let them ripen because I needed the space, so I just got rid of them. But let me know what you think. So next week I'm gonna be back with my regularly scheduled gardening videos. I have a couple of things in the pipeline, I just have to edit them, and I'll see you next week, guys. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Thank you. Bye.